ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, 5 days away. 5 days away from the house divided getting back together. We're going to go Monday, Tuesday this week. A little bit of cleanup on Kentucky, and then we'll talk Texas and Texas A&M. And look at there, upper left, we got our quarterback back. Chance Mock is in the house. And remember, we are the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. It's Black Friday week. It's Thanksgiving week. That means everybody's got a special, including the good folks at Poncho. Check this out. The double up deal. Buy 2 shirts, get 2 free hats or tees, plus free gifts with every order. That means if you buy 3, you get 3 free gifts. You buy 4, you get 4 free gifts, so on and so forth. Try them out. Go 5, go 8, go 10. We can vouch for up to 4 for sure. PonchoOutdoors.com. Mention Orange Bloods live when you place your order. You hear us talk about Poncho all the time. Incredible stuff. All right, upper left, it's Mock 5. It's Chance Mock. Chance, how are you, sir? How you feeling on this Tuesday? Listen to me. On this Monday night, right before Texas plays Texas A&M again.
I've spent most of the last 2 days contemplating what we've done for the better part of the last 1.2 decades during this time of year, because it's so great to have it back. It's so great that this game is back, that the atmosphere is going to be what it's going to be. I'm really disappointed in your Aggies for what they decided to pull at Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday night, really screwing up what could have been even more epic. But, hey, everything is still there. Everything is out there for the Aggies. Everything's out there for the Longhorn. The Aggies' path just got a little more narrow is the problem. But it's going to be electric. I'm glad it's here. Y'all know me. I don't talk too much shit on Twitter, but I found myself doing that. It may be the pain meds. I don't know. I just don't care. Either one. Maybe both.
Chance, it was weird Saturday night because you're right. The Aggies dropped the ball, and of all the people to pick it back up for them and hand it right back, the Oklahoma Sooners did what I still can't believe they did, and that is what gets the Aggies the chance to go to Atlanta if they can beat the Longhorns.
So can I say real quick, Jason, before you get in, I want to say to this. For the first time in my life, not just my adult life, but in my entire life, I spent Saturday evening cheering for the Oklahoma Sooners, not because of the Aggies, but because of what we found out about Brent Venables. And at this point, it's irrelevant. I was like, fucking good for him. Good for Brent Venables and his fans. I love this shit.
Yeah, and I hadn't even thought about the ramifications of it. I was just watching A&M and Auburn, focused in on A&M screwing up their opportunity. And then as I'm driving home from the watch party, I'm thinking, wait, is this really true? Am I hearing it correctly? So we do still have those stakes. The winner goes to Atlanta this weekend in College Station. It is still the battle for Atlanta.
Yeah, it's an exciting week, and I'm so excited. I forgot to turn on my influencer ring light. So everybody brace yourself. We're going to – oh, God.
Oh,
sorry.
There he is.
I was not ready for YouTube a second ago, but now.
The sexy beast light has been activated.
Yeah,
Jason Dick is ready. The lower left is the country gorilla, Bo Edge. Apparently it's a little chilly in his house. What's up, Bo?
Temperatures are dropping. Aggies are losing regularly like normal. Things are getting to be wintertime here in this, glorious Central Texas. There's certain things you can set your watch by. The Aggies tanking it when everything's on the line in November is one of those things. Sorry, Chad, but just had to go there.
Yeah, I know it broke your heart to see the Aggies lose at Auburn. We could certainly talk about it.
It's funny because I was sitting with our boy Chris Abbott and we were both actually rooting for the Aggies until it got to overtime. And then it was like, fuck it, let them lose.
I have written
blow that game, then lose.
So I think I told Jason this last night. Like I found this app called Mozart AI. Not that I'm publicizing them, but this app, you can make a song about anything. And you can choose what kind of song, if it's happy, romantic, sad, angry, whatever. God. You can do all this. Well, I have told my beautiful Lizzie Grace twice, who's a super Aggie, hey, y'all got the game in the bag. There was 2 games. One was Notre Dame and one was Auburn. So she has told me I am the Aggies' bad luck. So let me say, Aggies, y'all got this weekend on lock. It's going to be happening. Don't worry about it. It's all going down for y'all this weekend. Y'all got this. Don't stress.
I know we got all show and all tomorrow's show and the rest of the week when you have relatives that attended Texas A&M to goof on them. But it's like logic goes out the window this week on both sides, not just Longhorn fans and Aggie, but specifically Aggie fans. Logic goes out the window. Like thought, cognitive thought, statistics, reality, history, the record since 2000, the record since, whenever
1900.
Texas is the dominant force. But somehow, whenever you talk to an Aggie, it's like it doesn't exist this week. Oh, no, you remember that one time we got you? You remember that? Like one of my really good friends is bragging that he's betting people without the spread because he's so sure the Aggies are going to win. I'm like, all you're really doing is showing you don't like money. Because if someone's going to give you 6 points, take the 6 points. It's not an ego thing when you're not even participating in the game.
Well, speaking of gambling, sorry, Chad. I guess the Aggie result on Saturday should not be that big of a shock to us because the lines makers told us that I was the only one stupid enough to take Texas A&M -2.5, and I attributed it to, what was that word you used, Bo? Logic. Because I was like, how can Texas A&M, who can still make the playoff, can still win the SEC, how are they going to go to Auburn, mediocre ass Auburn, and not beat them by a field goal? And so I guess, Chad, y'all shouldn't. And by game time, what was it? It was down to 1. Like
I think by the kick it was back up to 2, but it had gone. Yeah, it was. It went all the way down to 1. It was the lowest I saw it.
You were favored by 2 and you lost by 2, so it was not that far off from what the wise guys thought was going to happen, and that's what kind of is making me nervous about this week because I'm like, I watched that A&M team on Saturday night, and I think Texas should be favored by 13.5, and you're telling me that it's 5.5, 6, and so yeah, I'm like, maybe my head's in the clouds on this thing.
By the way, we will get obviously a lot of talk about the game itself. And speaking of participating, if you'd like to participate in the show tonight, we are asking for your Aggie jokes. Maybe try to give me an Aggie joke I've never heard. I've almost been on the planet 50 years. I've heard a few. Lay some out that you think I haven't heard. Give me your favorites. Alan starts us off tonight. What does high and tight mean to an Aggie? The condition of his nuts when playing Texas. Well, there you go. It's like an updated Aggie.
I'll add a kicker to your thought process there, Chad.
Yeah.
If someone truly makes all 4 of us laugh with
Okay.
their joke,
All right,
we'll give away their choice of a poncho T-shirt or hat.
Okay.
Like we're reserving the nice button, the magnetics, for the pick'ems, which will go away soon enough because there won't be college football games every week to pick. And then maybe we'll do something else. But since we have to reserve one for tomorrow's 3 games against the spread, we'll still give away a hat or a T-shirt to the first person that makes all 4 of us just laugh.
I like it. All right. I like it. By the way, Chris Bennett already jumping in. I didn't realize we've already had bulletin board stuff this week. Says, Chad, thanks to Trey Zune for talking some S about Anthony Hill. I did not catch that, but okay. There you go.
He basically said Anthony Hill's a good player, but nobody we haven't seen before will be ready for him.
Ah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, probably need to be a little more careful on that one. Let's see. Randy is our only picker of the year who's gotten a poncho shirt off of 3-0. Thanksgiving was whole when we used to have Thanksgiving dinner in the parking lot in Austin or College Station, watching a Cowboys team not owned by Jerry, then attending the A&M versus Texas game. Randy, with all due respect, I don't care about this game being on Thanksgiving. I love that it's on Saturday. I love that it's Saturday night. It's the biggest thing on that day. Game days in town, full day of tailgating, and I'm going to try to hit every damn one of them on Saturday. I love it on Saturday. Don't need that game on Thanksgiving Day. So respectfully, I disagree with you. But I know a lot of families cared about that back in the day. So I get it.
I liked it being on Thanksgiving just because I had an excuse to leave my family. I could be like, all right, I ate. I'm going to the game.
I gotta roll.
I'll see you next year.
There was something cool, Chad, about I've never really experienced on the A&M side. I attended the game a few times at Kyle Field, but kind of drive up, drive back, not hang out. the tailgates in Austin back in the day, like back when I was in school and even before that, when people were deep frying turkeys in the middle of the Bob Bullock parking lot on Wednesday afternoon,
That
there
is
was
kinda
something cool about
That is cool. You're
like
right.
like Thanksgiving's not a huge family affair for my family, so it was awesome. Like when I was in college, we used to rent an RV and just park it down there and then just go around and eat everybody else's food. We didn't even cook. Like we didn't even bring food to cook. We brought beer and an RV and then just walked around eating everybody else's. It was great.
There you go. By the way, Chris Bennett throwing in this is a nice technological Aggie joke. How do you keep an Aggie busy on the web? Click here. Well done, Chris Bennett. I like that one. By the way, since we're telling Aggie jokes tonight, I'm sipping whiskey out of a mason jar. I thought that would be appropriate.
During my Maker's Mark in a Whataburger cup. So.
Yeah, during my time at A&M, we had to dunk our rings in mason jars because laws changed and weird things happened. Somebody else throws in, if you want to talk weird Aggie traditions, that might take all night. But ATX Bait says, hold up, Chad. Is there a custom about the cadets squeezing the crap out of their own huevos on big plays? Bates, my whole life, I'd never heard of that up through about, 35, 40 years old, something like that. And then I knew that on big field goals, extra points, whatever, that the yell leaders would run under the goalpost and like they would all put their arms around each other. And it was like, solidarity of let's make this kick. Then somewhere along the line, this story got out that not only are they sort of trying to just, will them to make the kick, but that there was this tradition of, like literally squeezing yourself during I didn't know about it, but apparently it's there. Yes. Apparently
it's there. Comments back on that one.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Chance, sometimes they're just the easiest jokes to write. Like they're writing themselves. It's just
Chance hasn't told everybody the reason he decommitted from Texas A&M originally was they asked him to participate in that.
Yeah. By the way, let's not do the long jokes. If you're trying to say you got to email it to somebody, come on. And I'm not doing
you can for sure email it to me. I'll get a chuckle, but you ain't winning poncho for it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do the ones that would take, too long. We'll see what y'all think of Morgan's take on it. Morgan says 5.5 at A&M would be 8.5 on a neutral and 11.5 in Austin. Wow. Jason, you were talking about 13.5. Would you think it would be that if it was a DKR for sure?
Yeah. I would say in that neighborhood. I mean, just based on the Aggie team that we've seen in the last two contests. That maybe I'm not factoring that in enough. I had Chance on my podcast yesterday. Thanks, Chance. And I asked him about Kyle Field. And what did you say, Chance? It is a top 3 to 5 toughest place to play in college football. So maybe, and with this a rivalry game that we haven't played in over a decade, maybe I'm underplaying that. But I mean, yeah, like if you can't hold Auburn down, what are you going to do when Texas gets loose on you? 5.5 seems like a goddamn bargain.
I mean, everybody's speculating on the injury to Quinn Ewers, and I mean, obviously the MRI results came out that he's fine, supposedly fine. You put no weight into any of that stuff. It's all hot. Like there's about 5 people in the world that actually know what's going on with Quinn's ankle, and it ain't anybody that's talking to anybody about it.
No. I'll tell you this: if Quinn Ewers was not able to go on Saturday, the line moved to 4.5. All right.
I'll say this: the Aggies just got beat by Peyton Thorne. Okay, it doesn't matter if Quinn Ewers comes out with concrete as a cast on his leg; he can perform as well as Peyton Thorne.
Yeah. All right. But okay, guys, I get that part of it, but let's go to the other side of it. Was there enough shakiness from Quinn Ewers combined with those running backs to at least make you guys a little nervous? I mean, sounds like you guys got a parade walk in College Station Saturday night.
You know how I feel about this game. I think this is a very dangerous game for this Texas team. To be a 5.5 point favorite for me is, and I get where you're at on this, Jason, but I mean, I watched the team that couldn't put away. They dominated the game against Vanderbilt and couldn't put it away. They dominated the team against the game against Kentucky. They could never really put it away. It got big and clunky at points. Same thing with Mississippi State. Like they've had that. So they haven't shown me that they can come in and just drop the hammer. And all it takes with in this game is for them to be able to shift and run the ball, chew up clock, really, really shorten the length of that game and just keep that place rocking, and it becomes a real problem.
So, Chance, at the beginning of the year, I actually thought along the same lines. Like, I thought this was going to be a game that it was going to be a very tough game for Texas. I thought Texas would probably lose this game, yet still keep all their goals in line. But I've actually watched the games with A&M the last couple of weeks, and if A&M starts the way they started against South Carolina and Auburn against the Texas defense, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, and I'm not predicting this big blowout. I'm not trying to act like Jason says Longhorn Homer guy. I try to at least be somewhat even-keeled with my assessment. If the Aggies want to give up 3 scores in the first quarter through dumbassery, watch the F out, because if you spot that defense 21 points, it won't matter who's playing quarterback for Texas. The game is over, because there will be no Marcel Reed comeback against that defense, especially when they're getting to attack Marcel Reed. That's what scares me. What scared me about Texas A&M doesn't scare me as much anymore, because A&M's offense is, Chad, you may disagree, but A&M's offense can get very one-dimensional right now. And without Moss, they don't have the horses to run it down our throat. And if you take away their running game, and their only running game is Reed on busted plays, I'll take my chances that Anthony Hill and some of the others on the outside will not allow him to just run rampant in the secondary, and it will be a problem.
It is the Outsiders on this Monday. Jump on in with your Aggie jokes. We got a couple of those. If you want to throw us a super chat, it'll go right to the top. We're also going to thank some of our great partners around here, including the good folks at Covert Ford. Here comes the truck.
Gear up for game night with Covert Ford of Austin. All season, we're bringing the football fun to you with unbeatable deals on our all-new Ford F-150s. Whether you're tailgating with friends or cruising to the big game, our powerful trucks are your perfect MVP. Come experience the rugged performance and cutting-edge features that make every drive an experience. Touchdown savings await at Covert Ford of Austin, a family tradition since 1909. CovertFord.com.
Covert Ford right there on 183. Closed on Saturdays, so you can go watch the game. Open on Sundays. Go see our boy Chris Abbott. Had a great story last week. Somebody came into the front desk and said, I want to meet this Chris Abbott from the Outsiders. Sure enough, he was sitting right there. Truck deal done. Another happy customer. Covert Ford, they're there for you when you're looking. They're there for you when you want to buy, and they're there for you afterwards with the service. Exceptional service there at Covert Ford, right there on 183. One piece of advice, though. If you buy a new truck or car at Covert Ford this week, don't drive it to College Station. As someone who's had multiple vehicles vandalized there, don't put a Longhorn sticker on it if you're taking it to College Station. Wait till you get home. Covert Ford on 183.
I wish that was not a thing, but it is definitely a thing.
Oh, no. If you have a Longhorn,
I was just going to say, Chad, you're going to let him talk to you like that?
I wish it wasn't real, Jason, but it is absolutely real. I've had multiple people tell me that story. I've warned people the same way. Just try to keep as little gear, that's on your car. Gear on your body is one thing, but if you have a lot of stickers and stuff on your car, just don't take that car to College Station.
No.
Would you be willing?
That's certainly the way it was in the 90s. I don't know. I'm assuming that
was that way in the early 2000s. I can assure you that.
Yeah.
Would you defile your new truck from Covert Ford with an Aggie bumper sticker just to keep it safe in the parking lot at Kyle Field?
Ooh, that's like a CIA level move. To put a bunch of Aggie stickers.
You put like 2 Aggie stickers on the back, and then you get out in full burn orange. That's
no. This is what I want you. I want you to you wear an Aggie shirt, all right, into the game, all right, and then as the game's kicking off, you just go Hulkamaniac and just rip that thing off, and you got the burnt orange underneath it, all right.
That would be fan.
Don't give Chance any ideas. You see that smile on his face? He's like, "Ooh, that's a plan."
If we're gonna have a joke show, we gotta have a light bulb. And East Texas Forever is throwing us a light bulb joke. How many Aggies does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1, but he gets 3 hours credit. All right. There's like 17 versions of that one. I'm not sure how
I've heard it where he gets a diploma.
Yeah, I've never heard where light bulb jokes started, but light bulb jokes were big when we were kids. Eric has one. My joke is, I don't need one. It's Texas A&M. Thank you, Eric. Thank you for that one. Here's an old school reference. You kids may not get it. Lamb Chop will be the guest picker on game day. That's well done. That's well played. And it's a Quinnet.
Chad,
We got you. Look it up.
Who is going to be the guest picker?
I haven't heard.
Mo Bamba.
Have you guys?
It should be Mo Bamba.
It should not be Mo Bamba. That is
I
not
don't think it's going to be
Johnny
Mo Bamba.
Manziel. Is Johnny Manziel back in the good graces of College Station enough that he's
picker last time? Like how many times
has he done it before?
Well, no,
he did it on the Notre Dame game.
Bo, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Johnny?
Yeah, right.
He was there hanging out. Did he actually do the picks?
I thought Manziel did the picks for the Notre Dame game.
Did he? Okay, I knew he was there. I couldn't remember if he did the picks or not.
And Manziel was a hell of a football player, but nobody is good enough to be the double picker on game day in the season. Like you can't double dip.
I have
That's
a special.
true. And then based on the schedule, because in terms of like, I haven't looked at the NFL schedule for this week of are there a lot of buys or not, and would Von Miller, Myles Garrett,
You know who it should be? It should be
Mike Evans, any of those guys get off? I don't know. What'd you say, Bo?
It should be Coach Schlossnagel. He's got ties to both school.
Hang on. I got an idea, fellas. Thanksgiving Day, he's got to work. Dan Campbell does not have to work on Saturday.
Ooh, that'd be
that is really good.
And
that would be a really good one.
He doesn't have to work Sunday. What about Dan Campbell? What about Captain Grit himself, Dan Campbell?
Because I don't give a shit if he's an Aggie or not. I love Dan Campbell.
You'd watch that, right? That'd be entertaining.
All day.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's
I bet you're
idea.
right, Chad. I bet that's a good one. I bet you're right.
And
if the Lions are on top of the world.
It just hit me. What Aggie is a part of Thanksgiving Day that they could use? There's the one. There you go.
If the stories Shane Leckler told us were true about what they did before Metallica concerts, imagine what that guy's doing before game day.
That's right. I think it's going to be a tough game, but Texas can play if they can play a relatively clean game, I predict 34-10.
Hey, do you see the one from Insider Ag right there? That's pretty accurate, probably.
Hang on. I did not see it. Insider Ag. Hang on. Right here. This one? What do you call Chance if the Aggies lose on Thanksgiving? Horny because he's not getting it. Wow. Chance, you have any concerns about the testing of your relationship here? This will be the first obvious game, unless you guys started dating in 2010 and I'm wrong. But this is your first game after being together, right?
The best thing I can figure out to do is that I reached out to our buddy Reese Davis, and I've got her the little VIP passes for game day, so I'm in good graces, and then I'll just keep my mouth shut. That's the way that I've learned is the best.
Well, if Texas wins, she's going to keep her mouth shut too.
Randy says Lyle Lovett.
You don't get more poncho by making the joke that makes us all laugh.
I wasn't sure if that was acceptable or not. I don't know.
Picking and grinning ugly from Lyle Lovett has been predicted. Robert Earl Keene has been predicted, and $5 super chat. Thank you, Starch Manning. Texas 8-4. Huh? What does that mean? Is that a joke? Is that a game prediction? What's 8-4? What does that mean?
Thanks for your $5.
George Manning, what are you talking about? I don't understand.
We need clarification.
Damn, look at Eric. Eric's just getting brutal. The best joke is people thinking A&M will go to Atlanta. You know what, Eric? That's just brutal.
Hold on, but Chad, you're the tiebreaker expert.
What?
Isn't Tennessee still in the mix? Or no? Did I miss?
No. It's Georgia and the winner of Texas and Texas.
I know Georgia's in.
But, Bo, it's because both of those teams – it's because both
common
Texas
opponent,
teams,
Arkansas.
Both Texas teams would win a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Over Tennessee?
Correct.
The A&M one is the common opponent, Tennessee.
Correct. And then, Bo,
the
Texas-Tennessee thing is if they ended up tied – they have a bunch of common opponents, but they both lost to Georgia and Tennessee lost to Arkansas.
All right. I figured out Starch Manning's deal, by the way.
Yes.
It just needed to be read better. Instead of Texas A&M, it's Texas 8-4 because after they lose to us.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. What? I swear to you, Starch Manning, I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to be snarky there. I literally.
Now I get it.
No,
Yeah.
now I get it.
Right.
Our chatters are a little more advanced than us because they all got it, but it went
That's
They
high
are.
level. Okay.
Yeah. And get this. Hey, Starch, if you listen to me for a while, one of the stats that I cannot believe is true is that Texas and Texas A&M have never gone back-to-back 9-win seasons simultaneously, ever. And we are not at half the stat right now. A&M is not there yet. So Texas could keep them from the 9. And then if the Aggies lost their bowl game, it would still continue. It's still one of the weirdest stats of any rivalry out there, but it is true. And they've only won 10 games in the same season one time, ever. And yes, it's my team's fault for most of that. I fully understand what I'm saying when I say that out loud. Most of the time, it's what we've seen now. Texas has already won 10. The Aggies are trying to get to 9. I totally understand that part.
So, Chad, let me ask you a serious question on the actual game itself.
Yes, sir.
I've been playing these scenarios through in my head, and we can all talk about the crowd and the hype and all those different things. What's the blueprint for Texas A&M to beat Texas? Like, what do they have to, like Jason alluded to it earlier, slowing the game down, running the ball a lot? Like, what's the blueprint in your mind for Texas A&M to actually pull off the victory? Is it require Quinn to be hurt and Arch failed? Like, what's the prevailing thought in Aggie land as to how they actually pull this off? Because I'm looking at a team that's lost 2 straight, and the one that they did win was against LSU when Doug Nussmeier obviously got on Aaron Rodgers' mushroom train and threw a bunch of picks in the second half.
Doug Nussmeier. I like that.
Huh?
His dad actually would have thrown better that night.
No, Doug and Aaron are friends, so Doug Nussmeier got into the Aaron Rodgers mushrooms.
He probably right.
Just went, ah!
Yeah, Bo, I think it's the same plan as it would have been if Le'Veon Moss is healthy. They're just going to have to do it with Amari Daniels. They're going to have to run the ball. They've got to make it a grinded out kind of game. And the Aggies have been pretty good in the red zone. They weren't against Auburn. They've got to cash in the red zone. They have to score. They can't miss field goals. They can't turn the ball over down there like both quarterbacks have done. So it's grind out long drives and score. And then there's nothing more important in this game, Bo, than the defensive front of A&M messing with Quinn Ewers all night long.
They have
Those
to, I think
together is the formula for how they try to get this thing, how they would try to keep it close.
They need 2 picks from Quinn Ewers and 2 Jaden Blue fumbles. All right. That's what they need.
I don't know if they need all that. They need some disruption. They need disruption.
But I would say, Chad, I'd be careful on going after Quinn. And this is why I say that. I think the blueprint for winning versus Texas is going to be not giving up the big play and making Texas kick field goals, not touchdowns. If they let Texas, if they want to play that blitz game and you're leaving guys in one-on-one situations for that big play to open up, that's when that can snake bite you. I'd almost go with the bend, don't break. Like, we're going to keep y'all in front of us and we're going to play. And then when we're playing in the red zone, then let those hosses get after Quinn, make him make a mistake. I mean, Texas has shown they have an issue of scoring from the 15-yard line. So, Ben, don't give up that big play. But then when you get in the red zone, then make it difficult. Yeah. Try to get field goals.
That could be part of it too. And no, I didn't say blitz. I said pressure. That's 2 different things to me. They got to mix things up. You're right. They can't just come after him because he'll pick them apart. The weird worry on both sides of this game for me, Chance, is that Aggie fans are worried about giving up stuff deep, and Longhorn fans are worried they can't complete the deep ball.
Yeah,
like it's weakness on weakness. Texas cannot complete the vertical stuff, and the Aggies will get bit by it. They just gave up their 6th passing touchdown of 40 yards or more against Auburn.
I will say this: watching the Auburn game, watching this out, the problem for the Aggies, and this is what they have to avoid, is the coverage lapses. Because you can say what you want about Quinn's deep balls or any of that. If a guy's running wide open in the middle of the field, Quinn ain't going to miss him by enough that he can't catch it. Does that make sense? Like, Quinn has had issues. He hasn't been throwing to wide open guys. He's been throwing to guys that are covered. When A&M blows a coverage, they blow it all the way. Like,
okay.
Huh?
I watched it happen against Oklahoma on the play that Bond hurt his ankle, wide open in the middle of the field, and just a terrible ball that when
It
Bond
wasn't.
adjusted.
I'm talking about the kind of deep balls that Arch Manning was throwing against ULM when their guys were colliding in the middle of the field, and the guy is literally doing somersaults. When A&M made the mistakes against Cam Coleman, and when they made it against South Carolina, there wasn't anybody within 10 yards of the dude. It wasn't like guys were having to make Moss, you got Moss type catches. It is guys breaking wide open because of missed pass offs between the corner and the safety and things of that nature. That would be a huge problem.
You're talking busted coverage wide open.
Yes.
Because I would argue, and I was in the stadium and I'm terrible, but so I don't know which receiver it was, but in the first half, it should have been a pass interference, but Quinn throws a deep ball. He throws it to the X in the end zone. If he throws it to the A, the receiver catches it with a guy 3 yards behind him. All right. I would consider him.
It was golden, was it not? If I'm not mistaken, it was golden. That would have been wide open if he would not have gotten.
He just put the
and I think
ball
that's
out
one
to
of the
that
reasons
side.
they didn't throw the flag was because they were basically saying that throw was so bad it wasn't interference.
Well, and here's the other thing, guys, you guys tell me if you're concerned about this at all. It would appear that like midway through the third quarter, the officials had sent a clear message at DKR. Unless a Kentucky player takes a knife out of his pants and stabs the Texas receiver in the neck, we're just not calling PI. Are you guys concerned at all that maybe the Aggie DBs are just going to be allowed to rip helmets off and throw guys down and these SEC officials just won't call anything?
As long as they let it go, in that defense, the Texas DBs were kind of getting the refs had set a tone across both units.
It was.
We're not calling that, and Texas took advantage of it just as well. If you watch some of those plays, Barron's a hell of a corner, but he was getting handsy as hell on the outside. So
you're okay as long as it goes both ways and they allow if Jahdae Barron can put Noah Thomas in a sleeper hold, that's fine. You're good with that?
I'll take the chances that our DBs with no rules are going to make some very opportunistic plays that A&M might not. Give me Barron and Gilbo and Manny Muhammad and Mukuba in a UFC style, no holds barred. Fine. I'll take my chances.
I could not believe they weren't calling anything in that game. It was crazy. Let's get a quick super chat in here. Paxton threw us a nice 5-spot. Thank you, Paxton. I was born in 99. That bonfire was absolutely heartbreaking. I'm looking back on videos. The Longhorn band showed so much class. Paxton, there's a lot of things people talk about around the bonfire game in 99. There's a lot of Longhorn reaction parts of it. And the band playing Amazing Grace is still one of the things everybody talks about. Everybody. You can't get a full discussion chance about that day without somebody mentioning the Texas band throwing that performance. It was incredible.
It was a very interesting day because it was one of those that I don't think you could watch that game, whether you were in the stands, on TV, whatever, and not have a tear rolling down your face because you knew there was so many families that their kids were doing something that a lot of those families did growing up. Their parents took part in, that they took part in, that were, for some of them, grandparents took part in, and they weren't there, to be able to watch that game. And we understood the impact of that on the families and the communities and the state as an entirety. So, man, it was, that was a rough day. That was it was hard to play. It was hard for those guys to play a football game on that day.
Well, and it was the one game that I can remember where there was virtually no talking amongst the fans. I'm not talking negative or positively. It was everybody was just kind of walking to their seats. There wasn't a lot of it didn't feel like an amped up college football game. When people are walking in to Kyle Field this weekend, you'll hear it. There'll be Aggies chirping, Longhorns chirping, Longhorn fans yelling Texas and fight. And it will be a college atmosphere like nobody's business. Obviously slanted a lot more Aggies than Longhorns, but the noise and the eruption in that stadium, you'll know that you're at an event. That day in 99, at least for the first quarter, it was pins and needles. Like there wasn't that like even the claps were like, like it wasn't like
It was golf.
God, like it was like, yeah, good job, guys. Like there was a solemnness to it because most Longhorn fans that went to UT or grew up in the area have all attended a bonfire build or been down to College Station for the 2 months prior, or knew guys that were involved in some capacity, because there's a ton of Aggies and Longhorns that grew up in the same high schools together. And while you may be rivals, you may talk crap on your, texts or whatever, at the end of the day, you go to bat for you. Like, I have plenty of friends who are Aggies that if they call me in the middle of the night, I would drop everything to go help them. And it was like that whole week, it kind of felt like that. Like, there's so much more than this game.
By the way, our man, and I know it's a sensitive week. Teta, but I trust me, I'm not avoiding any of these jokes. We're asking for them. Teta sent us a Longhorn walks into a bar in East Texas and asks the bartender if he wants to hear an Aggie joke. Teta, I don't see anything after that. And then you're accusing me of being scared of a joke. And then it says, hang on.
I'll be the bartender.
It says Chad is scared of my great 30-second joke. That's why no one will give an email to read my. Oh, it's still the email thing.
Oh, I'll give you the email. I don't have the ability to type it into the screen as we talk. It's my name, BoEdge1978@gmail.com. Fire on, buddy.
There it is. There it is. That's it. We will take it. I promise. Just like this one.
ATX EDGE 1978. Whammo.
What do you call an Aggie hand warmer? The backside of a sheep. See, there it is, right there. ATX Bates, Aggie sheep joke. You can't really have an Aggie joke session unless you have sheep joke. Why sheep? I don't even want to go into the history of it. It's just something. ATX Bates says they need to jump on Texas quickly. And I mean 14-0 first quarter. Give themselves a shot of confidence, and the crowd will get frothy. Okay, so from the A&M perspective, you're talking about it. Bates, interesting note, last 2 times they played, A&M went up 13-0 in 2011. Texas won the game. A&M went up 7-0 in 2009. Texas still won the game. It's not that Texas has to score early. Just don't let the Aggies really get going early. And the last time they did that, 17-0 A&M, that led to an Aggie win back in 2007. But since the game we were just talking about, the bonfire game, Texas has won 5 out of the last 6 played in College Station.
I think it's 9 out of the last 12 since the year 2000. But that's because Chance's units went 5-0 against Texas A&M. But he's not one to brag.
And you're saying 9 out of 12 total.
9 out of 12 in the 2000.
22.8.
Right.
22.8 point margin, by the way, average.
So Chance, let me ask you this question. You've been in Kyle Field. You've seen the crowd. Now the Aggies didn't perform very well, so maybe the crowd didn't get as loud back when you were in the stadium. But A&M has shown a propensity to come out of the gates a little slow. I'm not saying Texas hasn't shown the same propensity on offense. Sometimes we look like we're stuck in glue for the first 10 minutes of the game. But A&M has shown a propensity to have to adjust, and then they kind of get their sea legs, and all of a sudden then they figure out what they want to do. Sark has been known this year to take the ball for a multitude of reasons. He wants to get it started fast. He's more of a counter puncher as a play caller this year, especially with Quinn, to where he wants to let you see a few of his little tricks and eye candy before he hits you with what he really wants to do. What do you think Sark does if he wins the toss in that stadium? Where if you take the ball and 3 and out and give them more impetus, it becomes a bigger problem. Whereas if you can send your defense out there and they can send the message and set the tone early, I know it's not what Sark likes to do, but do you think Sark defers in that game?
Absolutely. I think he defers, and I think he probably picks the south end zone and move on down the train. Why not? Why let the emotion of the game start with your defensive guys? Because what do defensive guys do? They run on emotion. Look, the Aggie offense is not immune to the excitement around the game. Let's not forget that. They're going to be just as amped up. Throw their ass out there first in front of that crowd with all that amped up energy. Let them go out there, and then you have yourself set up for, let's say they make a mistake. Let's say they get a false start. Let's say things like that happen. They stall. Now they've lost that drive. Now we have a chance to double up at the end of the first half and starting the second half, like I love doing anyway, and start coming out after a half of being able to see what they're doing.
If for no other reason, the defense is your better unit. All right.
Yeah.
That's the
best unit in college football.
Yeah.
It's definitely the one you trust more. I think either team taking the ball would be silly in this game. Either one. I would defer all day and put my defense out.
That's what I'm saying.
Either team.
Sark has shown a propensity to be kind of rigid and stubborn sometimes with his thought processes on things like he wants. What was
like
that?
when his quarterback can't walk and he has the best backup in all of the nation, and he says, I'm just going to hand it off 15 times in a row. That's a better idea.
Well, it worked. Like, this is the thing. Everybody likes to sit on the sidelines and play coach and make fun of whatever Sark should have done this or Sark should have done that. The guy is 9-1 and ranked 3rd in the country after going to the playoffs last year. Can we at least say maybe he's got a different thought process?
I was just trying to back up your point that sometimes Sark gets a little stubborn. Okay, I was trying to be. I'm an athletic supporter over here, Bo.
Right.
And we know you're a jockstrap, but
he's 10-1 now, Bo. Kentucky's a real team. Give him credit. But here's the thing: we have no clue if Sark considered taking Quinn out. We have no idea if he thought it was a serious injury because after the game, the media did not ask him. He did not say anything. And today for the Monday press conference, he did not say it. He said Quinn would practice today, and that was it. No one has asked him yet, did you consider putting in Arch Manning? It didn't get a sideline reporter didn't ask him.
Well, because they know the answer would have been some gibberish coach speak about whatever, and Sark would have punted the question.
Yeah.
But my thought is, everybody was talking about how immobile Quinn looked and how bad Quinn looked, and I'm not disagreeing that Quinn didn't look good, but Sark, for whatever reason, determined that he was letting Quinn ride that into the sunset, and maybe it was a blessing in disguise because the team, and this is the moment Jason can call me Longhorn Homer, because this is me trying to put a bow or a gift wrap on what was obviously a situation that didn't look right. But what if the team figured out in their zest to rally around Quinn, who, if you saw, like, it seems like Quinn's liked by most of his teammates. Like, it seems like the teammates, all week, everybody's wearing Jahdae Barron for Thorpe. Jahdae Barron's wearing a Quinn Ewers shirt to his friend. They like Quinn. Maybe the team figured out how to run the football a little more effectively in that crunch moment when they were doing it for their guy. They knew Quinn shouldn't be out there, but they wanted Quinn to be able to walk off DKR with his helmet off, tip to the crowd on what was his last non-playoff home game at DKR. I think Sark was trying to give him his moment. The problem is the moment just kept spiraling out of control, and they couldn't get that play to have him walk off. It's almost like that could be the rallying point for that line heading into this raucous environment where they learned how to block runs a little better, especially in the interior, because they were just gouging that Kentucky team.
They definitely were. By the way, speaking of runs, Paxton has a $5 super chat. Do y'all think Quinn will have a run like Colt or Case McCoy? Paxton, you certainly hope so if you're a Texas fan, because that would mean not only are you getting a long run, but Quinn's able to make that run.
Right.
Case is obviously legendary in the 2011 game. But, fellas, y'all remember what Colt did to the Aggies one night. Good Lord. Colt, I swear it felt like he ran for 250 yards all alone. I know he didn't do it, but he had a night where he went up and down the field against the Aggies, and I think y'all scored like 49 that night. Something stupid like that.
Maybe.
Kind of. I think I remember that.
I mean, that's obviously not really Quinn's thing. If it's available, he's been able to take advantage of that in the past. That Case McCoy run, I so vividly remember yelling at my TV, "Go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. Please go down. Don't fumble, Case. Please don't go."
Trying to get that tie.
I yell that every time Jaden Blue gets to the second level. Like, as soon as one defender, like, even gets a fingertip on him, just fall down, Jaden. Just fall down.
If y'all want to throw a super chat in, it'll go right to the top of the list. We are so glad to have Chance Mock back tonight after having to miss a show last week. Chance Mock, why don't you tell the people about Arch? No, not that Arch that Sark may or may not have thought about putting in a game. Tell them about Arch Public, would you?
That's right. Our friends Arch Public, Tillman Holloway, Andrew Parish. They came down, had a great time, had a bunch of our friends in town for the Florida game. They absolutely loved it, and then went home and went right back to work and launched their new Bitcoin algorithm. So that's now out live and kicking. I mean, if y'all haven't seen, Bitcoin is raging and going crazy. But look, our traditional stuff, our concierge program, this is what we did back in October. We did damn near 30%. But what that's doing, here's the most beautiful part, is that the money is in your account. It's your money. It's your account. All you're doing is you're buying from Arch Public. You're buying the algorithm that tells you when to trade. Because if you're like me, you sit there and you're itching. You think, I just need to make a trade, You think I'm not doing anything, and that's a problem. Well, guess what? Just shut up, sit down, and let the robot do what it does, and it'll do great. Arch Public, those guys do a phenomenal job. You should give them a call. It's worth a discussion to see if it's right for you. It might be, it might not. You never know unless you have the conversation with the guys over at Arch Public.
It is the Outsiders. We're 5 days before the game resumes. House divided, biggest stakes ever. It ain't never been like this. First year with an actual playoff system. First time a 10-win Texas team has ever gone to College Station and played an Aggie team that had already won 8 games. Ever. It's never happened before. It's going to happen Saturday evening. Real quick, fellas. First Aggie joke I ever heard was man walking down the street with a bag. The Aggie walks up and says, what do you got in the bag? And the guy says, I got chickens in this bag. And if you can tell me how many chickens are in this bag, I'll give you both of them. And the Aggie says 4. That's the first Aggie joke I ever heard in my life.
So now, I have the email of the joke.
All right. Is it acceptable enough to read? Well, is it good?
That's the question. It's not dirty. Like we're not going to get in YouTube jail for reading it.
If it ain't dirty, then it's just all about Teta. Teta has gone through the process. He thought I was dodging it. Let's give him his 30-second bar
I'm going to read you this one, and then I'm going to tell you the one that Razor just sent me, and I really think Razor's wins, but
let's go. Hit it.
A Longhorn walks into a bar in East Texas and asks the bartender if he wants to hear an Aggie joke. Before the bartender could answer, the guy at the bar said, "Hey, I just graduated from Aggie," and showed his ring. Still want to tell that joke? Another guy at the bar interrupts and says, "Hey, I was Aggie class of 2012. You really want to tell that joke to me?" Then a third guy comes across the room and clanks rings with the other two, says, "I'm class of 88 and played in the Southwest Conference. You really want to tell me an Aggie joke?" The Longhorn at the bar looks at the bartender and the 3 Aggies and says, No. I don't want to have to tell the same damn joke 3 different times.
Not bad. It's not bad. Yeah,
it's not bad.
It was okay. I was like, for all the build-up and getting my email, I thought we were going to,
I thought it would be a little better than that when you had to go to the email route.
Okay. The best joke of all is R.C. Slocum and Texas A&M thinking Chance would actually go there.
I like the image that Aggies would be clinking rings like it's the Wonder Twins. I don't think I've ever seen 2 Aggies do dink. I've never really seen them do
Aggies unite.
Does it give you extra power, or do the rings?
I've never really seen 2 Aggies whoop, brother. I've never really seen it. No, I've never really seen it. So what's Razor's joke?
His joke was R.C. Slocum actually believing Chance was ever going to go to Texas A&M.
Oh, come on. How dare you? Chance was so close. Chance, where were you on a percentage scale? How close were you to being an Aggie?
Oh, I was 98%. I was in
98%, and then you turned into a 2%er. Well played.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Good job.
Then he came to Austin and realized that there were more women and less cows, and said, "Wait, I want to go there."
Oh, there you go.
The funny part was somebody on Twitter today decided that they wanted to question something that I said, and they said, "Oh, that's a great recruiting for A&M." And I wanted to say, "Look, you dumb dick, go check out the recruiting class of 2000. See if you really want me recruiting, because you guys won't get a fucking recruit if I get done with it."
ATX Bates, want to hear a good Aggie joke? A guy tries to send a joke to a podcast host. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. That is a good one. Now,
maybe I screwed it up, but whatever.
That's all right. No,
I thought it was a good joke.
That was decent. Yeah, no, that was decent.
I have a feeling if it was rehearsed, like if Jason knew that joke and he delivered it in the way that Jason delivers it, like I feel like it probably could have been pretty good.
Oh, if Jason delivered that joke, we'd all be in tears.
You fucked it up, though.
Yeah. All right, let's grab a couple super chats. One of them's just a nice bit of money going right into the tip jar. Thank you, KB Longhorn. We appreciate you. And then the same KB throws in $4.99 and a joke. How did the Aggie break his arm on the golf course? He fell off the ball washer. Yeah, that's, you know what's great about that joke, KB? Sometimes the mental picture jokes, that gives you the imagery. It's just like my favorite Aggie joke is, how do you get a one-armed Aggie out of a tree? Wave to him. There's just it's the imagery of the joke that helps you through that joke, right? That's good. And every time, even if you don't, even if you're not a golf person, as soon as someone explains to you what a ball washer is, like Bo laughed at that joke mainly because he has passed by and maybe even used a ball washer so many times in his life. The notion of a human being able to even stand, it's just crazy. Like I have no idea how you would even do that, but I do love that.
Yeah, no,
that's solid joke. There you go. Let's see. What else do we have? No, we did that. The podcast joke. Okay. All right. So we also have, this is sort of like, I guess, one of our guys wants to come clean kind of a moment. It's sort of, we'll see if it's a dick move of the week. Because normally when Jason Dick talks dick move of the week, he's ripping on somebody else. I feel like Jason Dick's about to like rip on himself here. Like, Jason, what is this that you need to get off of your chest tonight? What is going on?
Well, I've been simmering on this theory for a little while, guys, and I even gave you a little taste last week. And I know that it is so ridiculous and stupid. I will just preemptively say it's a dick move on my part to even bring it up on the holiest of holy hate weeks, when we're finally getting the rivalry back on this, a very legitimate platform. But follow me for a moment, if you will, fellas. And I already did this on my podcast, so super fans of the dick, you're going to have to wade through it one more time here. But I will contend to you guys. And again, I know this is just in fantasy land, but you guys know I'm an addict. I'm addicted to logic, all right? And so logic insists that I inform you that I think the easiest path for the Longhorns to win the national championship includes losing at College Station on Saturday. Okay? And I touched on this a little last week, but since then,
I'm in, Jason. Stop right now. I'm in. I think this is a really interesting idea. I don't need to hear the rest.
Since then, Ole Miss has lost and Alabama has lost. And so, as we discussed last week, a win over Kentucky puts Texas in the college football playoff. I think that there's basically nothing that can happen now, barring some sort of insane blowout that is not possible, that would keep Texas out of the playoff at this point. But here, just walk with me down logic road. Regardless of what happens on Saturday, Texas is 4 wins away from the national championship. All right. Now, you would want to beat Texas A&M and go beat Georgia and win the SEC, because then you get a bye. Hey, well, if you lose on Saturday, you don't have to play Georgia next week. Enjoy your bye during championship week. All right. The best case scenario, you are 4 wins away from the national championship, regardless of what happens on Saturday. Now, if you lose, you're 4 games away, be a home game. All right. You lose, 28-27. You're probably going to be the 7, 8, 9 seed, and you're going to get to host a playoff game. But the biggest point is you get to avoid the worst case scenario, in which you beat A&M, you go play Georgia in Atlanta, you lose that game. Now you still have to win 4 more games. Okay. Now so now you're 5 games away from the national championship. So I know it would be ridiculous to root against the Longhorns on Saturday. So I say, if you're Chris Del Conte, you pick up the phone, hello, is this the office of Greg Sankey? Hi, Commish. The whole team's got COVID. All right. Everybody, the offense, the defense, specialty, everybody, the walk-ons, everybody's got, you know what? All over the 40 acres, the entire student body's got COVID. We can't even have open tryouts. So we're not going to be there. I don't know what this is. If we're forfeit, you give us a loss, no contest, whatever it is. Do whatever you got. But my point is, and again, I know this is ludicrous to even bring up, and a dick move on my part, but the easiest path to a national championship for Texas means not playing in the SEC championship game.
All right. Jason says
Same.
Texas should tank
Same.
this week. I think it's a hell of a plan. Bo Edge, what do you think?
I think that's the kind of crap that I come up with once in a while when I'm trying to be funny. But no, in no universe do you want Texas to lose to Texas A&M because, well, I've stated it for a month. I think at 10 wins, Texas is in for sure. And after the upsets and everything else last week, Texas is in 100%. Texas, you don't want Texas limping into the playoff. If they play Georgia and they lose, so be it. But I think Texas, and Chance, tell me if I'm wrong, Texas got embarrassed for a half against Georgia. Now, they came out in the second half and they acquitted themselves where they at least showed they belong on the field with them, but they got ran out of the gym in the first half. I think if Texas can beat A&M and then go beat Georgia, now you have Texas headed into the playoff, not just thinking they can compete, knowing they can compete. And that's what this team needs. Like the knock from the national pundits is that Texas has their strength of schedule isn't strong enough. No, all these people are, they're morons. Texas has played. What's wrong with Texas's schedule is there's nothing at the top of it. There's no meat on the entree. Georgia was the best team on it because the other teams all failed to deliver what they were supposed to be. Michigan, Oklahoma, Florida, until they got Lagway and is now starting beating people. So Texas hasn't beaten any upper crust opponents. Texas has 7 wins against bowl-eligible teams. And I know that's not the bar we're shooting for, but Texas has played more bowl-eligible teams and won than any other team in the country. The problem is the teams Texas are beating are all the same damn team. It's 6-5. It's Florida with barely bowl-eligible. It's Vanderbilt barely bowl-eligible. It's Michigan barely bowl-eligible. But you know what's one thing you can say about teams that are all bowl eligible? They're pretty good. They're not great, but they're good enough to be above 500 right now. And so Texas, it's not that they haven't faced, it's not that their schedule's weak. It's that it's not top heavy. Like, you look at some of these teams like Alabama, they have this really hard schedule. Yeah, except for they also have Mercer and other teams on it. Texas doesn't have a Mercer. Their Mercer was Colorado State, who's going to be playing in a conference championship game. Michigan at Michigan. The only blip on Texas's schedule is UTSA. Well, they had one that was at least an in-state game that they gave away, but Texas's problem isn't that their schedule's weak. It's that they need those games to win a championship. Like they need to have some tough games that they come out on the other side of, like this game against Texas A&M and Georgia in the SEC title game. If they walk out of Atlanta, the SEC champs, you don't think they're ready for war? Because if they lose to A&M and they get in, they're going to have self-doubt. As a team, as a coaching staff, they're not going to know what they are. They win the next two, there is no doubt. Georgia caught us with a good punch in the first half. Other than that, we got off the mat. We're fine.
Chance Mock, would you concur?
I'm not going to co-sign on Jason's theory, first of all.
I am shocked. I really thought you were going to storm right into that one.
No, look, I tend to lean more where Bo is from the standpoint of I think this team has a chance to gel when it matters, and that's going into the playoffs. I don't think they played a complete 4 quarters of football yet this entire season. I just don't think they have. I think they've had sloppiness on both sides of the ball at times. That being said, you go get a big win in College Station, and all those things that we talked about against Georgia, right? Georgia's coming in. They were pissed off. Kirby did a great job playing that up to them, right? Like, you're going to Austin. Everybody's talking about them. Nobody's picking y'all. Y'all are the ones that are, have run the SEC, and these new guys think they had all that, right? They got their win. I'd love to face that Georgia team again in Atlanta, and it'll be a home game for them. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Texas fans travel fucking well too, okay? Not worried about it. What I am worried about is let's go get on the field for 4 quarters and play those guys and use that as that springboard. Go win that game and use it as a springboard into the college football playoffs. And then, you know what? Like, let's just see what happens. I mean, it's time. I think the playoffs start right now. Mm-hmm. That's when I think the playoffs start. I think you lose a game to A&M, and I get what you're saying, Jason. Like, I understand it, but I think that's such a morale buster that hangs with you, because then you're not playing for a month and you're having to think about that. and you're watching A&M go play in the SEC championship game. Like those things are not that's not one that I want to mess with.
Look, I understand. And I've already seen it in the chat. And the first time I shared this theory with a friend, they're like, "You're such a loser." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. This is why I never played high-level athletics, okay?" Because I'm like, "Hey guys,
I like picture number 13 still has nightmares."
I like to think of ways that I can still win, but not have to work as hard. All right. And if you're telling me, look, you got to win four games to win the national championship, and under my theory, those 4 would probably be versus Indiana at home. And then what would the second round be? Like probably versus it would be versus Georgia in the Peach Bowl or in the Sugar Bowl. And then in the semifinal, I don't know who would that be, Miami or SMU, whoever wins the ACC. And then you beat Oregon in the national championship. If Texas goes the other way, the 4 games are Georgia in the SEC championship game. Then you get a bye, and then it's probably what, Notre Dame, something like that.
Jason, I think the question is, where would Texas fit into this? If your idea, where would they fit in here? They'd host.
Well, here, look, based on on this right here, like Georgia is currently the 8th seed. That would mean that, I know this is based on today's rankings, I think that if Texas loses to A&M, they are going to be in the 8-9 range, both of which, or I guess it would 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, all of those teams host a home game, right? No, you have to be 8 or better.
I think Texas would
7 or 8. You think they would fall below?
Texas would be the 9 or the 10. They're going to bring them down. They're not going to be hosting, and they're going to have to go on the road. And more likely than not, they're going to ship us up north, where we're going to have to go play a game against Penn State and Happy Valley in the snow, or Notre Dame in the snow. And I'm not saying that we can't win those games, but I'd rather not go down that rabbit hole. And while it's probably a 90% certainty that Texas gets in at 10-2, there is one scenario where Texas
99.
It's the nightmare scenario, Jason. It's we lose to A&M, and then Georgia just goes out and says, screw it, and parties the night before the game. And A&M wins the damn SEC, gets in the playoffs with 3 losses over us, and we're sitting on our couch on December 21st watching a 3-loss A&M team because we got so arrogant.
Okay,
we thought we could lose to them and sneak in. Hell no. We need to go
They'd be a 2-loss team.
We've already we would be a 2-loss team. Like we're ahead. We're the third SEC team.
A&M's the SEC champ.
No, so it would be Georgia, or it would be A&M, Georgia, Texas. Like Tennessee is not going to pass us. Ole Miss, Alabama is not going to pass us. They have 3 losses. We've already spent way more time on this than I conceived of. I just thought it was a fun thing to bring up.
I get you're having fun with it, but what I'm saying is it would be a 3 SEC game at that point. Tennessee would get in over us, and then they would leave us in the cold. And in the ultimate irony, somebody like SMU would get an extra conference bid for the ACC, because they're not going to let a team that can't even make the conference championship. If A&M steals the spot by winning the SEC, then they have no justification to put us in.
Tennessee lost to Florida and Arkansas. We beat those teams. They're not getting in. They're not going to be ahead of us.
I'm telling you that if we embarrass ourselves that bad and A&M takes our it's a phrase Ketchum likes to use.
That's why
I think, Chad, it's the cornbread thing he likes to talk about, stealing your cornbread.
Yes.
If A&M beats us and then goes and wins the SEC, they will have officially taken our cornbread, and they might just get us kicked out of the damn playoff.
That is true. God love Jeff Ketchum for helping to make an average Eddie Murphy movie feel better than it actually is with the cornbread reference. He does love that one.
That's why you're not even going to play Texas A&M. All right, you're going to call in sick. All right. Now look, I can tell you from personal experience.
Yeah, Bo.
You know how to call in sick.
You can call in sick a little too much. Okay. You can go a little too far. But Texas, I mean, as far as I know, has goddamn perfect attendance so far. I mean, I can miss one game.
We know you're well acclimated with calling in sick.
I know, that's what I'm telling you. All right, you can overdo it, but you can use it once. All right.
So what you're saying is Sark and Quinn and everyone else needs to take a little tub time and then
that's right.
Fall out.
Everybody, the whole team's in concussion protocol. Everybody.
Okay. Yeah, guys, I think I know what we're experiencing here. It's another one of these. Jason is suggesting a bear dick helmet tap. That's what he is suggesting. Another bear dick helmet tap.
For the whole team. Not
For
even
the
one
whole
dude.
team?
Yes.
Jason, come on.
105 guys in unison going, I can't go out there.
I can't do it.
Maybe that's what they do, Jason. They don't forfeit. The whole team walks out, goes through the motions. It's the first kickoff, and all of a sudden they all just start tapping. Can't do it.
Look, I know, and this is why I told you guys it's a dick move on my part to even bring it up. But to be clear, if Texas goes on Saturday and plays their fucking heart out and loses the game, they are still in the playoff. I really cannot conceive of a scenario in which they don't.
It would be far-fetched.
That I would agree with that. All right, we got a couple super chats. We will get to those. Also, let's thank another one of our great partners, and let's get a little last stand hats going here. Let's see if I can do this again. All right, here we go, boys. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to look at some last stand hats tonight? Bo, I found something real special for you this week. All right, first up, we're going to start up here in Longhorn land. Look at this beautiful old man hat here. Grandpa's at dinner, Grandpa's on the golf course. Grandpa at dinner, Grandpa on the golf course. Look at that beautiful thing. Grandpa's going to love this hat. It's just unbelievable. This is also one I like. I call this the Scooby-Doo. You got this hat, and then you got, I don't know. Then you do, it just kind of perks up. Just, right
Chance
there.
wasn't here for this last week.
Just a Scooby-Doo hat. Now, look at the TCU people here. TCU, you can get a hat that says lickety-lickety. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Lickety-lickety off of the psychedelic frog thing? That's just fun. But, Bo, this is the one for you. I want you to call every SMU fan you know. Tell them to get on their Christmas list. Look at this beautiful pony up hat. We got powder white, bloody nose. Powder white, bloody nose. Powder white, bloody nose.
If
It's just
only it said
incredible.
one with the original booger sugar, it would be the perfect SMU hat.
Just incredible. Just incredible. Last stand hats, the true fans brand. Check them out. And we will always, let me throw the QR code up there for you as well. Outsiders 10 is your code. Last stand hats, the true fan.
It was one of the first Aggie jokes to come through. What was it? Like, how do you occupy an Aggie on the internet for an hour? Click here. I was like, send them to laststandhats.com.
Send
All right?
them, I'm telling you, the hats change. It's awesome.
You're new to the youthful exuberance that is Chad reading this and doing his color wheel thing with the hats. But am I the only one that can watch 30 minutes of Chad going through the different hats and just die laughing every time?
I don't know why it entertains me so much. All right.
I don't know why it entertains me more than it entertains you.
As long as it entertained you, because when I came up with that bloody nose joke today, I thought I was funny as hell. All right, let's see. This ATX Bates says Chad spends more time on this site kicking around than a 14-year-old on Pornhub. It's true. Yeah, Bates, it's true, and it is a better way to stay married than what the 14-year-old.
And I misread that when I first saw it. I thought it was comparing it to when you were a 14-year-old on Pornhub.
No.
They didn't have it back then.
No, they did not. They
People
did.
don't realize Chad is older than Pornhub. It did not exist when he was 14.
That is definitely true. Older than Pornhub is correct.
Do the youths of America know how easy they have it? All right. When we were 14, we had to wait for the Sunday paper and the JCPenney ad to come out with the bra section. All right. Now these kids just have
you went to
Pornhub.
Walmart and you stole the magazine with the cellophane wrapper. That's how you got around it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Ours was right near a culvert out in the woods. You got to have the older kids find a magazine, and then they tell the neighborhood where the magazine is, but you have to have a code about leaving it out there. You just got to know where to go.
Nope. There was a friend of mine who shall remain nameless who used to steal these things called pirates. And they were all they had a lot of educational material on the inside.
It happens. All right, $5 super chat. Starch Manning, back to football talk. Can we run the ball on Aggie? Also, why exactly aren't we better at running the ball? Did we find something last week? Gentlemen, the run game, other than these fumbles, Chance, you start here. I think there has been some finding of, finishing off the Arkansas game, finishing off the Kentucky game. The sloppiness was bad, But overall, do you trust their ability to run in College Station if they need to?
Well, they've proven that they can run the football. That's the frustrating part, is that in the beginning of the game when we, should be able to run the football with fresh bodies, we struggle. But then as we wear people down, our big bodies start overtaking them and we get that running game. If we can find a way to harness it early, it'd be great because we do have the ability to run the ball. We've proven we did it this is the same group of offensive linemen for the most part that did it to close out a game in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa last year. It's the same group that did it against, a really decent Oklahoma defense. It's same group that did against Arkansas, same group that did against Mississippi State, same group that did against Vanderbilt. This team has done it. So they've shown they could do it. It's just a matter of getting out and doing it early.
So fumbles aside, this has nothing to do with the fumble issue. Trey Wisner needs to be the back in the beginning because Trey Wisner falls forward. Chance, I know you've been in plenty of rooms coached by running back coaches when they talk about body lean. Trey Wisner gets those extra 2 or 3 yards in those initial, from initial contact because I don't want to say this is a knock, but Jaden Blue loves to fight through things. And once in a while, he breaks through it and goes 60 yards and everybody, tells him how he's the greatest thing ever. But he also leaves the ball susceptible to problems when he's making that extra move to gain an extra yard. This isn't a game, unless it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, that we need the extra yard. I know it sounds tough and old school football, always fight. No. Fighting to keep the football in our side, fighting to keep the football with us running plays is 10 times more important than the extra yard. And that's what, in my opinion, is the biggest problem with Blue. And they can do all the program stuff and have him carrying the ball high and tight. The problem is him fighting for extra and not having the ball secure when he does it.
Starch, thank you for the $5 super chat. We had another $5 come in. I believe it was JR. Yeah, $4.99. I love our man Blue. He will have to do 10 times better at holding the ball, back to the running, because the Aggies will be extra vigilant at stripping the ball when they see number 23.
So I tell people this all the time. The body lean thing, it's huge.
Vigilant. I said vigilant. Vigilant is the name.
I like vigilant.
I thought you were going full bow on us there.
That was the brown. That was the Brownwater pronunciation.
What does that entail, Jason?
but yeah. So when you look at this, is something that it was pointed out by Bill Parcells a long time ago, and I've always thought was fascinating. When you look at the body lean, right? If you've got a running back that is getting 200 carries over a season, okay, so let's say that in the old days that was averaging 20 carries, and he gets body lean, meaning he gets hit, and as he's going down, he takes an additional step and gets 3 yards. Those 3 yards over 200 carries of a season, that's an additional 600 yards of rushing yards that back is accumulating every year just by having body lean and finishing going forward. And I know that those things are small things, but they're huge to talk about, because when you're talking about getting into a 3rd and 2 to 4 situation or keeping the game in a manageable situation, that body lean is huge, because even if they catch you at the line of scrimmage or 1 yard after, you're now playing 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 6 as opposed to 2nd and 9.
Especially with a guy like Sark who likes to push boundaries on 3rd down in between the 40s or between the 30s, depending on how you look at it. 3rd and 5 is a rundown for Sark a lot of times, because he's kind of daring himself. Like, hey, if we either get it, great, or if we get close, then I get to go for it and roll out this play that I've got in my head that I've been saving for 4th and 2. Like, once Texas gets past the 40, if it's less than 4 yards, they're going, and everybody knows it. Sark knows it. So those are the plays where that body lean comes even more. When you run it on 3rd and 5, it can't be 4th and 5, because then our punter is going to come in and kick it sideways or straight up in the air, and we're going to get a 20-yard punt. But if you can get it to that 4th down or get the first, it's so advantageous for Texas.
JR, thank you for that super chat. We got a couple other chats we can hit before we get out of here. If you want to get us a super chat. Oh, who's that? Naaman got us a Naaman.
ATX Mates, you're trying to get a hat. You got my joke. You got me to laugh.
Yeah, hang on. That's good. How do you know you graduated from A&M? You stay vigilant. That's right. That's a gentleman in your village. A vigilant is what that is. Yes, exactly.
He's a gentleman. He's a good guy.
That is it. That is it. We'll get that $9.99 super chat in here. Before we do that, even though the cold breezes may be blowing, even though it's getting a little bit cooler, birdies still available out at Star Ranch. Jason, have you gone out there and played a little crisp golf lately?
I have not been to Star Ranch in a number of weeks. Let's get together, baby. Me and you, Star. I know. I miss you. I miss you as well. I tell you what, I've been working on things. All right. I'm hitting the ball so straight. The rough is going to be disappointed in me. The rough at Star Ranch is going to be like, Jason, what are you doing? Come over here. Because you can stray from the fairway every once in a while at Star Ranch. It's a fun golf course to play because you can score there, birdie available, eagle available if you're of that type. And yeah, I know we keep talking about the cold weather. Today's November 25th. It was 80 degrees today, guys. So I don't want to get into a whole climate change is real thing, but it's not typical. There's still great days to play golf, but even when the weather turns cold, that's why I love Star Ranch, because the course is in great condition 365 days a year. The fairways lush, the greens rolling true, whether it's the hottest day of the summer or even in the dead of winter. A great place to host tournaments if that's something that you're looking to do. Charity tournaments there. Bo has the Super Cooper there every year. It's a blast, a great place to hang with the guys, the gals, and to make some birdies. Scan the QR code there to get more details. Set yourself up a tee time at the golf club at Star Ranch or call them 252-GOLF.
There you have it. Thanks to
You
Star
talking
Ranch.
about the cold. I had to put my ski hat back on.
Yeah, that's right. A little chilly. A little bit of that. All right. I think we did have one more super chat. And from the Mon 999, we can't run the damn ball because Sark is over focused on getting his quarterback into rhythm. Running backs need rhythm as well. Run to the right more as well. In terms of the Kentucky game, it looked pretty good running to the left, but you definitely want to, I guess, keep everything open. We haven't talked about him specifically, guys, necessarily a lot tonight, but man, Trey Wisner, maybe it was just that Kentucky defense, but by the end of that game, maybe because he was the one that wasn't dropping the ball, I felt like I had a little trust in him. Do you guys have trust in 26 to be the guy? Chance, is he the guy?
I love what he does. I love the way he carries the ball. I love how he makes decisions and goes. I like what he does, and I think we need to get into. Nauman's right. We need to get into more run situations early. But I think Sark scripts his plays. It's funny, we talk about how Sark's a counter puncher now. The thing that's driven me nuts this entire season, with the exception of the Michigan game, is our script starting every single game just makes me want to jump off a cliff. And I get it. Sark forgets more about football every day than I'll ever know. So he's got a plan, and I just got to roll with that. But my God, it wears me out. And I do. I want to see some more downhill type runs early and get that part of the game going as well.
Naman, thank you for that super chat. We'll see how Texas runs the ball.
Let me ask you this, Chance, just to play devil's advocate, having seen how the last 3 games have gone, where Sark does come out and they're trying their deep shots early and then reining back off of it. Do you think that's part of the script in his mind to get it to the point when they want to run the football, where he's shown all these other things and the defense just isn't loading the box because they're fearful of the counterpunch? I say this almost in a Jason Dick kind of tongue-in-cheek mode, but Sark shows so much eye candy and so many tricks in the first 3 quarters. Do you think some of that is to set up the running game in the 4th quarter, because the defense, they can't overcommit, because as soon as they do with an experienced quarterback like Quinn, and I'm not lauding Quinn here, but I'm saying if you don't think Quinn could check to the play if they put too many guys in the wrong spot, he knows the film. Quinn knows where Sark wants the ball to go. Do you think that's part of how the success from the running game comes, is because the defense has to stay on their heels a little, because Sark's shown them all the motions and the crossers and everything off of it? They have to just stay in whatever base they're in, because as soon as they deviate, they're getting attacked.
So you're talking about late in the game, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go with Bill Belichick, something that he said, and all of your points are valid. And I think you're accurate in a lot of it. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to blocking and tackling. And I think really when you boil it down to brass tacks and you figure out why are we able to run the ball, I think it comes down to the players on the field. And you've got guys that are bigger and they're stronger and they've been leaning on these other teams for 3 quarters. And by the time the 4th quarter rolls around, you're able to start manhandling them. That's what I think you've worn them down. It's the old Nebraska way, right? Like you've worn them down so that by the time the 4th quarter. So yes, those are all valid points. I don't disagree with any of them, but I think really when you boil it down, it's the fact that by the 4th quarter, we've worn people down and we're more conditioned, we're bigger and stronger.
So, but if that's, go ahead, Jason. I'm not.
Well, look, that is true almost in every case. And if you can do what Texas did on Saturday on that last drive, where what was it, 86 yards, 15 straight run plays, 8 minutes off of the clock, where you just say, hey, I'm better than you. I'm going to kick your ass now. But in this specific situation, and you guys tell me if I'm just being a hater here, they ran the ball 15 straight times because Quinn could not be trusted to execute the offense in that situation.
Well,
and I know they didn't have to. Obviously, they were able to, stuff it all the way down the field in their face. But I think that was a special circumstance where they were like, yeah, we just got to run this clock out and get out of here.
And I know Quinn didn't look good in the second half. I understand
He's hurt. He's hurt.
And the injury was there. But we don't know. I think it's too big of a conjecture to say that Quinn could not have thrown the ball if needed in that drive. He just wasn't needed to. They were never in a position where they had to because they kept getting such positive gains on first down. It became readily apparent they were trying to run the clock. But I think people are overplaying. Quinn made a really bad fumble. And yes, Quinn's ankle may have hurt it at moments, but if the reports are accurate, and I actually tend to believe it, because if you watch the post game, Quinn was walking around, joking around with McConaughey and other seniors, and he had a smile and a bounce. If he had really, really hurt his ankle, he'd have been in the damn locker room. He wouldn't have been out glad-handing with fans. I think, and y'all know I'm a Quinn apologist, I think he had a bad 3rd quarter, like he's had multiple bad 3rd quarters, and everybody blamed it on the leg injury, and it was part of it, but it wasn't all of it. Like, I think Quinn is fine. I think Quinn will go through treatment. He'll get it taped up. They'll take a big-ass needle full of some good stuff, and they're going to shoot that ankle because we don't have to worry about Quinn being a runner. He just needs to be back there.
All right, a couple of chats here before we wrap up. ATX Bates wants to know about Brian Jones on the show tomorrow. Bates, he is traveling tomorrow night and dealing with some TV stuff. He's not going to be able to join us this week. Brian is going to try to join the House Divided show Wednesday at the normal time in like 1:20. He's an old man. Middle of the day, he's fine now, but he's getting old. He's got that white beard, and being up late is tough for him. We're going to try to get him on an Outsider show at some point. Also, ATX Bates says the amount of shit-talking credibility Texas would have if they won the SEC in year 1 is priceless. Bates, and if they beat the Aggies on the way and remind them that they went to Atlanta before the Aggies ever,
Hey, did y'all catch, to that point real quick, did y'all catch the Aflac trivia question? Who was the last team to win the SEC championship on their first year in the SEC?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you catch it, Jason?
I was at the game, so no.
Okay.
It's a great question.
I'm going to guess it's like decades ago, right?
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know.
It's the first year of the conference.
Alabama, the first year the
Really?
SEC started.
First year of the
Yeah. And it was just
you know what? Plan to lose on Saturday. That just
There you
so
go.
yeah.
and that wasn't even winning it, right, Chance? That was just getting to the title game, or was it winning the conference? It was winning the conference,
They were
right?
the first ones
There
to
wasn't
win.
a title game back in the aughts.
They
Good
just
point.
won. It was 1933 in Alabama.
1908, there was no conference championship game.
That is fair. Yeah. All right. We got a wave of jokes that came in. Starch Mannings must have a book. How do you know an Aggie used your computer? He left the browser open to Cornhub. There you go.
Hey, to real quick, Chad, to what Bo just threw up there before you throw that up there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead. Go to that. Then we'll come back to it because I want to tell you all this. This is good.
Okay. E. Barron, you know why they bury Aggies 12 feet down instead of 6 feet? Because really deep down, they are good people. Wow. Why do Aggies always carry condoms in their boots in case they meet a cousin they've never seen before? That is. Am I missing one?
Like an Arkansas joke.
Am I missing why the boot is a part of that joke? Maybe I am. And then finally, did you hear about the Aggie at the stop sign? He's still there.
That's a good
All
one.
right. There you go. There you go. Chance, I'm sorry I interrupted.
All I was going to say is to Bo's point, Bo was talking about when they didn't have conference championship games. Think about the discussions that we're having on who gets to play into a conference championship game, who gets to the playoffs. There was a long time, we forget about this, there was no national championship game. It was decided by the writers as to who was the – there's a lot of national championships around this country that multiple people have claimed on multiple years.
Yeah.
Think about that world and how crazy right now would be if we were still in that ancient world.
Ooh.
Yeah. And yes, Chance, you're right. And B, to be really dickish, that ancient world ended last season with Michigan. They are the last illegitimate champ, and we're finally getting a system.
Oh,
if we want to be real,
what are you talking about? Because Boise's going to get a shot at it this year. Now it's legitimate.
Jason, it's never been real. These two teams met one time as top 5 opponents, and do you know what happened after that game? Nothing. Arkansas went to the Cotton Bowl. Texas and Texas A&M went to random bowls. It didn't matter, and it didn't matter.
I agree 100% with what Chance said, and for real. Alabama, go check some of those championships because it's like there's a couple of them. It's like Fisherman Weekly declared them the national champion, and so they're like, let's hang a banner. But
I agree with that.
Last
will
year,
say this:
Michigan did enough to prove they were a legitimate national champion. Okay?
Texas has one of those. Texas has a national championship where they didn't win their bowl game, but they were declared national champions before the bowl game.
Yeah, I've got an easy set of rules that takes 3 away from Bama. You don't have to be undefeated, but you have to have as good or better a record than anybody else that played, and you cannot have lost your last game. I'm sorry, you can't. Bama, by those rules, Bama shouldn't be claiming 3, in my opinion. So whatever the number Bama claims, I think it's 18 right now. It's 15. Okay. I'll give them 15, but I can't give you 3 when other teams had better records or you lost your bowl game. I can't let you do it.
Okay, we got to get to Barb's because
we got to get to Barb's. We have a new outsiders record for a 99.99 super check. Couldn't quite cross the 100 threshold, but we'll take all the pennies.
What if that was a misclick?
Thank you, Barb's 10. Barb's 10, one of our guys that comes out and checks out the watch party. He's been to all but one watch party this year at TCH Social Austin. Happy Thanksgiving to you fellas. Always appreciate the content. Which is more likely, 2 fumbles by Texas running backs or 180 in rushing yards? Chances Arch makes a fourth quarter cameo. #horns by 30. 2 fumbles or 180 yards rushing. It's the 180. That's to me.
Okay. I'm going to get a little nitpicky. It does 2 fumbles that were recovered by the other team or 2 fumbles? Because I will guarantee you that our running backs will drop a ball that may go out of bounds. It may get recovered by a lineman. I have zero confidence that when Blue, Gibson, and Wisner in the game, that one of them isn't putting the ball on the carpet at some point. It's just a matter of whether we fall on it.
And 180 is a lot. 180
how about this, fellas? I found you some good news this week. Texas is 109th in the country in fumbles lost, but guess what? My Aggies are 113 in recovering fumbles. So you can fumble all you want. My guys can't find them. I mean, you're good.
I mean, watch the Texas-Kentucky game on a replay. There were multiple balls that were fumbled that went out of bounds, fumbled, but the ref said he was down before he crossed the plane. Yeah. There were like a couple that were bobbled that he fell down.
And also, I got to give y'all credit. I don't know if I've ever seen a team that can strategically fumble where the ball rolls out of bounds like Texas. How many we've been? 2 of those this year, at least?
I'm just saying, if y'all have ever seen the movie Little Giants, we need that black stickum, and they need to coat Jaden Blue in it to the point where the ref has to rip the ball out of his – like he gets up, he walks over to the ref like, here, take this, and then go back and do it again.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of the scheme. Instead of practicing ball security, they run drills on how to fumble out of bounds. All right, just how to direct your fumbles toward the sideline.
Next level coaching by Stan Drayton.
And then you got, in terms of the Arch fourth quarter cameo, let's say it's best case scenario for Texas. Let's not talk about injuries or even bad performance or anything. Let's say it's comfortable lead fourth quarter. You guys think Sark gives Quinn that moment? Or do you think if it's like, I don't know, 45-10, do you think he trots Arch Manning out there and thinks of that as a really like stick it to the Aggies at the end? Like, which one do you want, Bo?
Knowing how Sark's played this out, I don't see him. I see him giving Quinn his moment. The only way Arch is playing, in my opinion, is if it's meaningful snaps because Quinn re-aggravates the ankle or something happens. I don't think they're rolling Arch out to take 3 snaps and drop to a knee just for the sake of doing it, because I don't think Sark's about that kind. Like, if he's sending you in, he wants you learning from the moment. He's not sending you in just to go through the motions. The same reason that he substitutes in the first half, and it drives people crazy when they see a guy like Black playing, Kobe Black coming in to play cornerback, or some of the guys in the defensive line rotation where it's not the guys you're expecting. He wants those guys playing in meaningful times. He doesn't give a damn about the drop to a knee. I think Arch will stay on the sideline and Quinn will get to ride off into the sunset with his horns held high in the scenario you're describing.
Yeah.
I think at 45-10, he's going to Arch Manning will be in the game. I think so. Look, what was it on Saturday? It was 24-7 when we fumbled and it was returned for a touchdown. Like, if Texas scores there, goes up 31-7 in the fourth quarter, I think that Arch Manning.
I think he pulls Quinn.
And we would have made the over. God damn it! That's stupid.
I think all he was waiting on was for Texas to score one more touchdown so Quinn could walk off to the crowd, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But they're not waiting for the crowd to cheer in College Station. Like, I think he wants Quinn to, walk off.
Right.
I think if in the scenario that Chad put up there, if it's 45-10, if I'm Sark, I'm taking the moment to put Arch out there. Not the moment. I'll let him have the whole quarter. I don't give a damn, because I want to put a thumb in the eye of every one of these recruits that looking at Texas and Texas A&M and go, we beat them so effing bad at their house that we put our backup in. Like, I want that statement.
Yeah. ATX Bates, didn't Kentucky fumble the ball like that many times and Texas recovered 0? Bates, there were 11 combined fumbles in that game. There were. The ball was fumbled a decent amount. You are correct. It wasn't that many times.
Come on, Aggie, do that number. You can do it.
I can't do that number. No, I'm not doing that one.
There. Let me say it again.
I am not. You want to see that number? You want to see if you can figure out what that number is? You want to see if you can do that?
I want you to do this.
375,829,193,747.
If you can do the square root of that number right now on the spot, I'll give you the entire Poncho kettle.
Of course I can't do it. No
that one would be crazy.
Come on, Goodwill Hunting, get after it.
Damn. Come on, Rain Man, let's go. Before we get out of here, let's hear from Specs. In case you are just about out of brown water, they can help you out.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
This is all I have left. Remember that bottle that I said I was going to drink after every Texas victory? I've only touched it. This is all that's left.
Is all of that going away? I was going to say, if Texas beats A&M, is that all going away?
I'll drink it on the air. Like, no mixer, just doop, 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 doop.
See, Bo's going to need to go to Specs pretty quickly.
I'm actually going tomorrow because I need some other things.
I wanted to get –
you got to be prepared for that family invasion.
Anybody else got anything before we close the door? I did have one quick question for Chance on the way out. Chance, as a quarterback, I want to get your thoughts on it. I've been thinking about Quinn for the last day or so, and it's not about his ankle or whatever. It's about his demeanor. I keep thinking maybe his demeanor could really help him in College Station. That even keel thing that sometimes fans see as, does he not care or whatever? Could that stoicism that he seems to show, he just seems like he has this look on his face like he knows something I don't know. Do you think that could help him with 110,000 going bananas when he walks out there for that first play?
I think that's why he plays well in Tuscaloosa. I think that's why he plays well in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I think that's why he plays well in those games is because his mentality is better for those games. It's also why, unfortunately, when we play teams that we should demolish, he doesn't have that I'm going to just beat the piss out of somebody.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good thing this weekend. It'll be a really good thing because I don't think it affects him. I think he just kind of is where he is in the moment, and he just is very good at compartmentalizing that and just playing his game.
Well, he's got some big ass road wins, and this would obviously be one of the biggest. Before we get out of here, let's remind you again of a couple things. That special running this week at Poncho. We are brought to you by Poncho, and check it out. Double it up. You buy 2 shirts, you're getting 2 free hats or T-shirts. And we've told you about these T-shirts so many times. They are so comfortable. I sleep in a Poncho shirt just about every damn night now when I can. You will want to do that as well. And so if you buy 3, you're getting 3 free gifts. If you're buying 4, you're getting 4 free gifts. It's this week only. PonchoOutdoors.com. Make sure you mention Orange Bloods Live when you make that order. Also, just a reminder, you want a place to come watch the game with the Orange Bloods crew. Jeff Ketchum and Jason Sukamel are going to be out there at TCH Social Austin. $1 draft, $2 jellyfish. Those specials start at 5:30. Game at 6:30. If the Aggies try to wear those helmets, I'm going to lose my mind, but that's a whole separate issue. And if you come out, you can watch it on this screen and have the Bad Beat Bacon. We're featuring the Bad Beat Bacon this week, because it's amazing. I haven't been out there once where I didn't have it. It will change your life. So come on out and see the fellas at TCH Social Austin. I will not be out there this week because I will be in College Station. Ketch says he wants me to join the post-game show no matter what happens in the game. So once I get back to the car, I'm going to try to join on my phone. We'll see what that looks like late Saturday night. All right. I think we are ready to wrap it up. We do have a show tomorrow night. No Wednesday show because we'll be traveling for Thanksgiving stuff like a lot of you will be. So tomorrow night, Blake, the super producer, might be able to join us. If not, he'll send us his picks. We'll make picks from around the country, and we will pick the 119th edition of Texas and Texas A&M. We'll get you all that tomorrow. One of you will make 3 picks tomorrow, and if you go 3-0, you're going to win a Poncho shirt. We didn't quite hear that joke tonight we were looking for, going to be honest with you. There's some decent ones. There was nothing that just blew us all the way. So we're not going to fake it. We can't fake it for a Poncho shirt, Bud. Would you agree?
I agree. Like that, I said somebody had to make the 4 of us all just drop dead laughing, and that didn't happen. Like, half the jokes we had to explain to each other.
Exactly. It did not quite happen.
See what he meant was, or what was trying to say. No.
So Bates, the answer is no one. No one really won the joke contest.
But might just send ATX Bates another hat for the lures that he sent us.
Yeah, I like when Jason went off on his weird idea that Texas should lose to A&M, that Bates said he was going to make him a lure, one of these beautiful lures like up here, and now he's not going to do it, Jason. He's out.
That's fine. I'm an indoorsman, so it's fine for me.
Indoorsman.
He can make you an ottoman then. You're sitting inside. All right. Remember, you got Orange Bloods live content all over the place. Tomorrow at 12, it'll be a special version of House Divided. It'll kind of be a modcast House Divided. Ketchum is dealing with some work stuff tomorrow. So Anwar, Jason, and Alex are going to join me in the 12 o'clock spot. We're going to make it the modcast. We'll get their thoughts on the game, the recruiting after Fasusi's visit, and a whole lot more. So check us out. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and getting those notifications. Up over 900 folks in the Specs chat as we get ready to close up. Until tomorrow night at 8:30, we are the Outsiders, and much like old school paper porn somewhere in your